Located in Fillmore, Mountain View Mushrooms is the largest commercial mushroom farm in Utah. We have been serving the Intermountain West market since 1974. Here is a peek inside our farm. First, we start with composting. Wheat straw is the primary ingredient in making mushroom compost. Over the course of 23 to 24 days, we use compost turners to add water, mix ingredients, and aerate the compost. During the decomposition process, the compost piles can reach over 170 degrees Fahrenheit. The next step is filling the growing trays with compost and placing them in a peak heat room for pasteurization and conditioning. Over the course of the next 7 to 8 days, we will pasteurize the compost to eliminate undesirable insects, microbes, and pathogens, while also conditioning the compost to create the specific food for the mushrooms. Now the compost has been prepared for the next step, spawning. The mushroom trays are brought to a mechanical tray line where the spawn is mixed with the compost and pressed back into the tray. The trays are then taken to another room for 15 to 17 days to allow the spawn to grow in the compost. After the spawn has grown through the compost, it's time for the next step of casing. Here, the trays are brought back to the mechanical tray line, and a 2-inch layer of peat moss mixed with lime is added to the surface of the spawned compost. The trays are then transported to a growing room for 16 days before mushroom harvesting begins. During this time, the mushrooms begin to grow through the peat moss and form mushroom pins on the surface of the casing layer. We water the mushroom trays from time to time to ensure the proper moisture and humidity levels in the growing rooms. In the proper conditions, mushrooms will double in size every day. In each step of the growing process, we are controlling the temperature, CO2 content, and humidity of the rooms. The mushrooms are harvested by hand every day except Christmas because they never stop growing. As the harvesters pick the mushrooms, they trim and sort the mushrooms into plastic baskets. The baskets are then placed in carts and moved to the product cooler, where the mushrooms are cooled before packaging. After they are sufficiently cooled, the mushrooms are then processed and packaged for delivery. We have 3 primary categories of packaging: sliced, overwrap, and bulk. Each room contains 1 crop of mushrooms, and we plant 2 crops per week. We can harvest the mushrooms for 21 days before we dump the trays and start over. The spent mushroom compost that is left over from the process is sold to the general public and is a very good soil amendment that has proven beneficial for farm crops, gardens, and landscaping projects. Thank you for taking the time to learn about Mountain View mushrooms and how our mushrooms are grown. Come by our facility where mushrooms and other mushroom-related products may be purchased. As always, we encourage you to eat more mushrooms.